Hi everyone, this is Culture Mapping and your hosts, Konstantin, that's obviously me, and Anastasia.
Hi, in this podcast inspired by the book Culture Map, we are interviewing people from various backgrounds to learn more about their culture and their life, and their businesses.
Talking about businesses, Anastasia and I were both entrepreneurs. I am a co-founder of content production company Storm, and Anastasia is a co-founder of Movingo, relocation platform. And Culture Mapping is our own way to reflect on how to live a global life in such a fragmented world.
Hey, it's so nice to be back. We've been on a small content vacation, but now we are back with 4 new episodes to come soon. First of all, I wanted to announce great news. We've been featured by Apple Podcasts MENA as a new and noteworthy show. It's a great honor, and we're extremely happy that our work with Nasta has received such a great support. We really appreciate your support, guys. Thank you so much for sharing, commenting. We've been receiving a lot of great feedback, and that proves that our work is important, and we are eager to do more. We believe that talking about differences and our cultural backgrounds openly and without prejudice is super important. It helps us better understand each other, and as one of our guests, Afaf, once said, by the way, check out an episode with her if you haven't heard it. So, she's a community builder, and she advised that communities would grow effectively and better if we show genuine interest in people's life, and not from the position, oh, look at the Russian or look at the German, but from the point of view, or, oh, that is a cool person. Let's find out, about his or her life. This would make our world a better place, boost empathy, and help us build strong, durable social connections. Listen carefully to what other people say. Ask them questions about their life. Give gifts, it's a nice way to show kindness. By the way, on the 30th of July, the whole world is celebrating the International Friendship Day. That's a holiday dedicated to empowering social connections. In this podcast, Culture Mapping, we do pretty much the same. So you can check out the sponsor of this season, FlowWow. It's a marketplace where you can find gifts for your loved ones. Download FlowWow through the link in the description. In the app, you can create different collections for various cities and share it with all your international friends so that they know what to gift you and don't mess up. FlowWow already operates in more than 30 countries around the world and helps to surprise your loved ones even at a distance. So, if you've never tried FlowWow, this is the right moment. Download the app following the link in the episode notes and use our promo code CULTURE, it's CULTURE, to get a 15% discount on any order. The promo code is valid until December 2024. And now we're back to our episode. I would not introduce our guest because I believe that she would do it much better than I would. Thanks, take care, and have a great listen.
Hi, Lena.
Hi, Nastia.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm amazing. What about you? Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me. This is really nice.
I've got the first question. It's a super basic. Lena, can you tell us about yourself? What do you do now and how do you define yourself?
Yes, first of all, my name is Leena Vesterinen. I'm originally from Finland, and I actually lived a long time, 20 years. Oh, actually over 20 years in UK. I went to university there. I built all my career there. And around 6 years ago, we took the leap of faith and we came to Dubai, and we have been here. And my career, I built in user experience and research. So I became quite an expert in consulting leadership, C-level people across very, very large global organizations in creating new products and basically investigating what is it that the users would need when you're building a new product. And that brought me to the region as well. So I came to Dubai to work with Careem. Careem got then later acquired by Uber. And I came there to lead their team for these new vertical product functions in strategic research and design.
And you said leap of faith. So Dubai was not like planned, or you found a job here and then you moved here?
Actually, it wasn't in a plan at all. I started to talk out loud. Hey, we have been in London for a long time. Maybe we should go somewhere else. And just started Googling basically and looking at different places, Singapore, Dubai, New York, this and that. And I believe that somehow I got on a radar of some Dubai people and, I just got headhunted. I never applied a job. It was the first headhunt. I took that. They gave me a good deal. I said, okay, I'll go. I convinced my husband and here we are still after 6.5 years.
But was it not, I don't know, like scary for you to move like from the very north to such a hot country, especially taking into consideration that you were raised in Finland.
Correct. So when I was a teenager, actually, I left first time from Finland. I went to spend time in UK. Actually, I spent my teenage years, the best teenage years in UK. Of course, there was always this home in Finland, my parents, most of my family. But coming to Dubai, for me personally, after having lived in multiple places, I had spent some time in Ireland, France, even in my husband's home country, El Salvador. For me, it wasn't scary at all. It was just another stop in a life. But I would say that maybe my husband took it slightly more differently. He didn't have that. So as a family, we had to really tackle it, how we can settle in another place that suits all of us. And we had a little boy, 2-year-old as well. So yeah, but overall, it was easy mentally and attitude-wise for me, but practically moving to another place is a different story.
And maybe it was mentally easier because you were moving since like teenage years. So it was like switching countries is not like that hard.
Yeah, I think so. Us Finnish, we are like that actually. We live there tucked away in the north, in the cold place. I think many of us Finnish people, we speak typically many languages. We travel a lot. So I think many Finnish people, they leave, but they always come back, you know. So the country for us is very important. So some years I would go back 4 or 5 times, you know, whenever I could.
You said that you spent quite cool teenage years in the UK, but what was different between, spending these teenage years in Finland and in the UK mostly?
When I was a young teenager in my high school, up until 16, 17, I was living in Finland. Of course, it was great years and everything, but I always felt that the circles were very small for me. Although my parents were really flexible, they let me go to a high school in a different city than where they lived in. So I went to study high school in a different city. Of course, I had my amazing friends, but those days, because look, that's already almost, 27 years ago, it wasn't as international as Finland is today. And I think for me, what I was missing was that international aspect, speaking English, being with people from all over the world. And, I used to sign up for like a pen friend, writing friend. Back in the day, you would get like a list of countries and you could pick what you want. And I had pen friends from Kuwait, India, all over the world. And one of the pen friends, we stayed in touch up until we were adults. We still know each other. We just don't meet very often. So that was my way when I was a really kid, like 8-year-old, to try to get access to the world. There was no internet and any of this, obviously, then. And I think it was just some kind of burning need for me to see the whole wild world. So yeah, that's how it all kind of started.
Was there any, not like cultural shock, but what are the difference like in the UK and Finland?
Yeah, of course. In Finland, obviously, we didn't have many of those typical events or hobbies, what are really, really British. So when I was a teenager, I got introduced to rowing, kind of horse racing, this type of very British thing, afternoon teas and all that. And really, I fell in love with that. We didn't have any of this kind of every man's luxury, I would call it, in UK culture. And but I think the main difference, kind of cultural difference, is that I think in UK people are really, because it's so much more international environment and it's very easy to learn to know people, I feel. You could make friends in an instant. You just go alone to a pub and you already have made so many friends, So, and sometimes I did it. I was 18, 19. I just say, okay, I'm bored. I go to pub. And of course, always I had friends then, I feel in Finland, we are a little bit more reserved people. It takes some time to warm up, feel that you can maybe trust people or something like that. But of course, once you learn to know people, you can be friends forever. Generally, just to mention another thing, I felt going to UK university for me was kind of big difference to the Finnish university. I felt like in UK I would get bachelor's degree in 3 years and it was very structured and organized. Whereas in Finland, the students are kind of left to manage their own studies and they can track on for years. Really, that's true because many people go to work and then they do that. So I selected the UK specifically because I said I want it to be structured. I want to come out with bachelor degree very fast, 3 years. From the education perspective, that was probably the biggest difference. But then I went back to do master's degree in Finland, and I took the British mentality to say 1 year master's, and I just did it, So yeah, it typically can take many years to get degree.
So you mean in Finland, you can study for like longer periods? You do 1 year, then you drop or like pause it, and then you just go to work and then you return?
Yeah, in Finland, they support a lot this culture, education and working. So it's all about taking courses, meaning like getting those educational points, which you need to reach to bachelor or master's degree. So for that reason, there is no kind of set schedule that all first year students, you now study this or you fail. So you can pick and mix and you just progress. They give you very long, I think I don't know nowadays, but it can be 7 years or 8 years. You can study and then you need to just do your final graduation work and all that. But that's the very big difference from the education perspective.
How do you study? Do you attend lectures? Are they pre-recorded or how does it work?
Yeah, you go to lectures like anyone. Of course, maybe COVID times they had online learning and that. Back in the day when I did my master's, we had normal physical lectures. You go to lectures, you pick which lectures you want to do in this term. You go there, you study somewhere online. So somewhere all online learning and you have to do and then do the exam at the end. But normally university, but it's more like the student needs to be in control. So I don't actually blame that many people are studying 8 years because you have all the responsibility. So I liked it in UK. You go there and, they tell you what to do. And then you just get the degree like that.
Sounds very exciting for me because I didn't know about this system in Finland, even though when I was graduating from school back in St. Petersburg, which is very, very close to Finland, I was considering going there. I don't remember why I didn't do that. But I would prefer this flexible thing because I was always working and studying at the same time. And it was so exhausting. And I think if I would do working and studying in like this logic, it would be much easier.
Exactly. And I think that's, I do like that Finnish way. But for me, I think I was in a rush. I was like, I just want to get this out of the way. I just want to go to work. But it was like must do higher education like this. So yeah.
I think when you're younger, it's really hard to control yourself regarding the studies. So it's good when like somebody is telling you what to do and like you have these 3-4 years. But now I understand that I would prefer the one thing that where I can choose the courses, I choose my time and I work and I can mix it. And like that's a good thing that in a Finnish system, you are actually learning to be in control and responsible from such early years.
I think it supports the whole culture actually of making our children independent very early. For example, in Finland, 6-7-year-old kids, when they go to the first year in school,
they rent their apartment.
And they go for work.
Part-time work already. But yeah, they have their mobile phones and they cycle, walk or whatever to school by themselves up to certain kilometers. And that's probably many European countries. However, not in UK. No. Up until the children are maybe 12, the parents are still driving them to school and making sure that they get to school, So of course, it's about the safety and other aspects. But I know that even myself, we were really independent. We were brought up so independent that I don't remember that anyone would have ever guided me in my homework since I was 7 years old.
So that leads me to another question. You said you have a boy. Do you raise him in the same manner? Because as your husband is from El Salvador, I think that he was brought up in a bit different way, or not?
Correct, yes. So the difference between me and my husband, of course, in El Salvador, everything was always private schooling, a very safe environments because the country was a little bit uncertain. But then in Finland, we were very free and independent. But then our child was born in London. And of course, London, you need to safeguard your children quite tightly. And then we got to Dubai. I feel like, unfortunately, our children, not only Anu, but most of the children here, they live a little bit in this super safe kind of like bubble. Yes. I don't even want to say that out because that is so not right. But everything is so given easy, the schooling, the way we live our lives here. But what we try to do with our child is to really give him the values and the education from home what we would have got. So trying to bring him some independence through other tasks and things, which he doesn't otherwise get in our environment. But it's a very good question. I don't think he is like me or my husband. He is a Dubai kid. Yeah.
It made me remember our previous episode with Felix Erdmann from Germany, who was saying that he was talking a lot about Germany and how do they raise kids in Germany. And he was saying that the current system is not supporting this self-sufficiency in people. And he's very sad about this. And it seems that in Finland, it's a bit different, which leads me to another question. How is the situation with entrepreneurship in Finland? Is it promoted in families? Are there many entrepreneurs? Does this system actually help people to become entrepreneurs?
That's a really good question. Over the years, I think Finland has become really kind of innovative in a ways that they have installed entrepreneurship and business management and leadership kind of courses already in the high schools. This is a long time ago. When I went to high school and school, I actually was on a course with my school, which was about building a business. It wasn't called entrepreneurship at that time. And what we did, we created a magazine, like a school or like a local magazine, and then we sold it and got the kind of returns. So, and this is a long time ago, but they have gone so far now. You know, all these events like Slush and these type of things, which are then kind of stimulating and taking it to other areas. I think even the little kids are now, I'm not quite sure, but I understand that more and more younger kids are being educated on this mindset of looking at and innovating and coming up with their own kind of projects. Definitely high school kids, like 13 to 18 years old, that's like in the curriculum, probably in every single school now.
How did you find your field of interest while you work now, user experience? Why?
Actually, I didn't finish my story exactly when I started this podcast. I was always interested in psychology. I thought there has to be a way to mix computing with psychology and do something better for human and people. And at the time when I started studying, it was called ergonomics, and it later became user experience, interactive design and all that. Then I studied that. Fast forward now, I did consulting many years, then came to the region. For the past 2 years, I've been actually working on my own startup. So I'm a startup founder, like Anastasia as well. I started this company for simplifying property or real estate investing. And our target is digitizing all that burdening activities such as analyzing research, which takes hundreds of hours or tens and tens of hours from typical investors, and helping the digitally savvy people like you guys to make these savvy investment decisions. So our target is to really simplify and make sense of what does it mean to invest. So using AI and data, of course, and LLM and other technologies to do that. So coming back to your question, how did I get into user experience? Of course, it was the psychology aspect, but I think it's taken me throughout my whole entire career and guided me where I am today. It's like the thread through everything. Even in my current platform business, it's always the user we need to think about. We didn't start from technology first. We thought, what is it that the end user needs and wants? We must build everything around that. So I'm actually probably one of the luckiest people in the world that I still like my expertise, that I studied 25 years ago and I'm still on the same path. I built my whole entire career in that.
When was the moment you realized that you want to open your own business? Because as far as I understand, you had quite a good corporate career, but you decided to switch.
Yeah, actually, I was an entrepreneur always. I worked in businesses, but around mid-2000, 2005, 2006, I actually set up my own consultancy in London, and we delivered these services of customer experience, user experience, and it was like the golden times before the kind of recession hit again. And that took me all over the world consulting people, but through my own company. And then a couple of years later, I co-founded another platform with my co-founder. It was a creative resourcing platform for film and games industry. So matching projects with the creative players. Actually, it's called Nerdia. It's still, I think, live there, just going organically. And then...
But you sold it or?
No, actually didn't sell it, just kept going. Just like organically living there because it built the original founder, Caroline Pires. She managed to build very, very solid community for that project. And although it didn't have exit or anything, she just kept it going because so many people already knew about it and they would just come along. So people would be able to post the projects and then you don't need anyone there really. They can do it on their own. I had fair share. I was even involved in some US-based car-related startup. That then closed down quite quickly. I was more of a kind of partner. But generally, I had some entrepreneurial experience, and then ultimately, when I was working my last job here in Dubai, in all honesty, the working hours are really, really long and tough. And I think I went to the point that I started to get quite exhausted, and it was very, very, very tiring for me. And I then left, and I said, take a deep breath, few months, 3-4 months, and what can you do what you love so much? And for me, it was like easy. I thought about this whole property investing aspect for a couple of years before, but I never did anything about it. And it was very easy for me to say now or never. And it was just that. I built a small team. I say every Saturday, Sunday, get online with me for the next 4 weeks and we're going to crack it. And that's what we did. We said, let's build the value proposition. Let's look where is the problem and start cracking. And that was like 2 years ago now.
Amazing story. And I was like super structured, like, oh yeah, okay. Like, I know what I want to do.
Yeah, I also had this question and the answer is so straightforward.
Yeah, but I mean, was it that straightforward? Because like a lot of people who want to build their own startup, like start their own business, but they don't know what to start with. What can you advise them?
I think I'm probably almost 15 to 17 years older than typical young entrepreneur who is maybe first time trying something. So definitely it's my life and my work experience from the previous years. I consulted C-levels. I was presenting in boardrooms. I learned from everybody. And I have to praise Careem for that unbelievable entrepreneurship, what happens inside that business. 2018, I came to or got headhunted for Careem, and yes, I was leading a team and doing something there, but for me, it was much bigger than just my role. It was about learning from everyone, including the founders of Careem, observing and sucking in everything and saying, one day when I build my business again, I won't make that mistake. And it was like all life learning. So what I would say to any younger person who is trying is most important is learn. Every opportunity, even you work in McDonald's in student years, learn. There is always opportunity to learn something what you can use as a skill later in life. And then the second part is mingle and go with people who are more experienced than you. Ask them millions of questions. Go networking as much as you can, especially in the early years. Talk to everybody. It doesn't matter if you don't know what they're talking. Listen. Then I think the third point I would say is just get yourself, what is a little bit of the networking, but get yourself early mentors or advisors, people who can guide you in your thinking. And it's not easy to decide forcingly an idea. Typically, you will find the best idea from your own struggles or your own experiences. And typically, like for me, moving into real estate and property was very easy because I love real estate. I love property. I've done it so many times myself. I have renovated apartments for myself, with my friends, with my family. I knew what it means when you actually put some money down and you own something. It was very easy choice. But yes, starting can be hard. For me, what were the hardest part, I think, is that we started a very big project. And I think we weren't maybe prepared initially that how much resources our project would really honestly take. And I think the perception from the world is that you can bootstrap whatever. Like most of the projects you should be able to bootstrap. And we just felt like we can get this far with bootstrapping. So I think there is so much to it, to be honest. But that's maybe the baseline.
I wanted to ask about mentors because I had a moment in my life when I thought like, okay, I want to get a mentor because I was stuck in certain things and I would really appreciate some advice, but I had no idea like, where do I go to search for a mentor? What do I say a mentor? Like, how does this work?
I have to admit that I never really went looking for people who I can learn from or who can advise me. It just happened to me that I met them through some other people maybe in an event, or I was introduced to them. When I was much younger, I was early in my career. I met a couple of older people through networking, and we became like this regular group. Every month or every couple of weeks we would meet. We live in London, of course, for a couple of drinks and after work. And we would talk business, we could talk everything. And I think those were the early days for me when I was really sucking in from 20, 25-year-older people than myself. I know that for people who are not as extroverted, they might be a little bit even insecure or shy or introverted. I think they just need to know very clearly what they want out from people. And even then, they would need to try to somehow connect and network with people. I don't know what kind of mentoring platforms there might be out there nowadays. Actually, I have no idea. I have to admit that. But I have been mentoring many people throughout my career. It has always happened that they have somehow met me. The last girl I mentored, we were invited into webinar and I was one of the talker. I took the employer role. She took the employee role, and the person who was running that webinar was then asking us questions about our perspective about recruitment process and all that. So after this meeting, I didn't know this girl at all. She contacted me and said, hey, would like to talk to you sometimes if you have time. And she actually ended up becoming an intern in Asette. And she worked with us maybe 6 months as intern, and she learned a lot. I told her, look, you can take everything what I can give you. Take it. And today she's working in a very, very well-known venture builder in Abu Dhabi. She has been already there a year and a half. So what I mean is that sometimes you become the mentor to people just without even planning it. We got on very well. We became kind of friends. She was younger than me, of course, and I was able to help her in her career. I think it goes both ways. And I think for younger people, there is no harm to ask. If you think that someone has something to offer you, just say, hey, can I have a coffee with you? I would like to pick your brain or whatever. If you hit it and your chemistry works, maybe it will be something. Those are my experiences.
You have experience in building projects in different parts of the world. You have your own startup in the UK. Now you have your startup here. What are the differences in the business field? Like, is it easier to build a startup here, or it was easier to build a startup in the UK? What's in there?
Yeah, that's a really, really good question. Maybe because I was living in a different, phase of my life when I last time did startup in UK, and then now I'm in a different stage in my life. I think I wasn't enough experienced in UK when I was doing it there to understand how to use the resources or what's available to me. And I think at the time the environment wasn't as encouraging. The startup founders help or support, it wasn't so easily accessible. It wasn't like on your face all the time. Whereas in Dubai, I feel everywhere you look, it's like startup advisory this, accelerator for this, woman, do this, do that, So I think even if you don't want to be an entrepreneur in UAE, I think in Dubai, it's very easy to become an entrepreneur. Really, that's how I feel. But when I did it in UK, it was already many years ago. So I'm sure in UK it has also evolved. I know there is many groups now who are trying to stimulate that. And of course, long time ago, they had grants, more grants available. But I think UK always had tax relief schemes for investors. So if you invested up to a certain amount, the investor was able to claim tax relief. So I think that kind of support was always in UK. Obviously here we don't have anything like that. And that would encourage some of the investors and angels to come on board with startups. And last time when we did in UK that startup, we had at least a couple of those angels who utilized this kind of a incentive from government.
And still you decided to build a business here and not go back to the UK now.
I felt like my market knowledge, having worked in a very significant company here, and in my role, it was all about understanding customer segmentations, consumer behaviors. I didn't even doubt. I didn't even think about doing it anywhere else. I felt this was my home ground. This was where I knew the market the best. I felt this was the place where I can build a pilot and then scale it to the world. Definitely. It was after 6 years, I felt like I know this market so well.
And what's the biggest difference, if there is difference, in user behavior in, let's say, different tech products in the markets you know well?
Of course, UAE itself is a very small market. It's a small country. We have a lot of very UAE products and services which are catering for convenience, the type of convenience which probably wouldn't sell anywhere else in the world, I would say. So, of course, let's say Finland or UK, I feel like the service or product you're going to build has to really solve those basic needs of human, and that's why I feel like many of the successful companies are finance, delivery, and those very traditional kind of type of businesses, which has done really well. But here in UAE, I think it's very funny to say, but I think people are talking about the Dubai dream or the UAE dream, because I think this country is growing so rapidly. Economic growth and the population growth for the next 5 to 10 years is going to be so fast that the city population in Dubai is going to multiply by 3. So what we are saying is that this means that there is more and more people to serve. So we have loads of opportunities to build businesses in Dubai and start pretty much any business you want is probably going to succeed. If you want to do bakery or you want to do restaurant or something, at least for a few years, they will probably go really well.
Do you feel is it hard for you as a woman to do business here or not?
That is a good question. I never felt that way in Europe or even up until I started my current business. I studied computer science. I was always among the minority and, I worked in very male-dominated departments, R&D, technology, product.
Well, IT sphere, as a whole, it's more male-dominated.
Yes.
And I know, there are researches that even in Europe, there are less and less women founders of the startups are nowadays.
So when I came here in Dubai, I didn't feel it when I was working in a company. But when I started my startup, initially it was it's not about gender, because in my life it never was about gender. But I must say that there is a reason why all these female accelerators and women accelerators are now here. It is clear that only about 0.5% of all the investment from last year went to women from VCs out of all of the startup funding. So I don't think it's about me being a woman really ultimately, but maybe as women, we behave differently in the business, which may not be exactly what maybe VCs are expecting. So now we need to reflect and say what we need to change as female to really be competitive when we go to those pitches,
Maybe they also need to reflect a little bit.
Yeah. I think they need to, of course, but why I'm saying this is that I believe in completely that we are competitive. I don't see the gender. I don't want to admit that. But, when we are in real estate, in high-tech data platform business like we are, of course, that's people look at me, this small blondie, what is this about? But it's okay. It's more about what we know, what we're building, and that's it. So yes, I think 0.5% investment going to the female shows something statistically, but in my mind, I don't want to elaborate on that in a way because that could get quite depressing, and encouraging. So I feel like we just gonna ignore it and we just do our best. And we just get the support for our startups that we can get to that funding or we can get through that. If I'm a solo founder, female, then I just make sure that I have loads of male founding team members with me. So I'm just okay. Yeah.
Just to balance it a little bit. I have a terrible question, which is usually not asked to men or male entrepreneurs. How do you balance family and work? And is there a balance? And why actually no one asks men about this? That's also very curious.
Yeah, I think less often they ask about that. But yes, it is hard at times, I have to say. Even though we have help with our child, I'm still a mother and I want to be a mother. I cannot ignore the fact that I am a mom and I want to spend time with my child. So yes, I need to structure my days pretty well to say that I have the time to go in the morning, take him to school and do these things. But yes, I think there is so many strong women out there. I see they are pregnant, they have newborn babies, and they are just going ahead, building the startups. But I think the support network is the most important. You need to have supporting spouse. That's the number one. Someone who really wants you to succeed and is there for you to build this. Building a startup it's a crazy job. And then, of course, the support network to be able to, look after your child and give the child all what they need, that it's not interrupted, I'm not lying. It's not easy, but we just juggle with the support network and very organized life, basically. Yes.
You mentioned that female founders do business a bit differently. What did you mean? Like, how do you think that female founders lead their business?
I think this is even written in some articles and everything, but I'm not repeating from anyone else. But
from your experience.
Yeah, from my experience, I say, at least me personally, I'm so responsible person. I don't want to promise or play with people's lives. So when we are building a startup, we're taking it very, very seriously and making sure that we do the right thing. And we are very responsible and we want to succeed and make sure that what we are doing in business is done correctly. So, of course, I'm not saying that men don't do that, but I think this is something from me personally, my personality kind of characteristics is that if I cannot deliver things very transparently, honestly, and in fairness, then I shouldn't be in business. So I think it's about the values, which are very important. From the day one I started Asette, was to say, if we can follow these values, then I think we will be fine.
That's cool.
I also heard that when comparing men and women in business, also in some articles, whatever, very often people say that men take more risks than women, and that also what impacts those negotiations with VCs you've mentioned very much, because women are very bad in overselling themselves, and we are too reasonable, and I see it in myself as well.
Actually, that's one of the kind of articles I also read recently about how there is a difference, how, example, female founder, entrepreneur sells the business to, let's say, investor versus men. Men are apparently very decisive. They are very determined and very persuasive. And women can come across even a little bit apologetic. So the thing is, big learning for us is just to say, no, we are also here for real business. We are not apologizing anyone anything. And we are just here. We believe in ourselves. We are here to do as good job as anyone else. So I think we need to become more, I wouldn't say cocky or anything like arrogant, but I think we need to just trust ourselves that we can do it the same way as anyone.
That investors should remember that if a female founder shows you the numbers, she is 100% sure about them. So if she says 300 million in revenue, she will earn it and even more. And when a guy said it would be $1 billion, $2 billion, of course, yeah, 100% growth rate, whatever. Yeah, maybe he's lying.
Yeah, I like
Is this what you do as a man?
No, never. I'm super shy in that things. I have a partner, Anna. You know her. I mean, you know her. So she's the one who's more persuasive in these kind of things.
Okay. So it's good that she's doing that job. Yeah, good. But yeah, definitely, I think we are responsible.
Since your husband is from El Salvador, so it means that you are in a relationship with a person from a different nationality, from a different cultural background. How is it working out? When did you meet? How is your marriage working? Is it hard to actually have a relationship with a person from another nationality or not?
Yeah, good question as well. So we met in El Salvador. I was actually a consultant. I was doing a consulting work piece there. I met him on my third trip. He was working in an office where I was as well, and people were socializing. And then obviously we became friends first, and then later, we like each other a bit more. Yes, there is quite a huge cultural differences. Although my family in Finnish standards, we are really, really close to each other. But El Salvador, they are super close, very warm, the whole entire family, the grandparents, the cousins, the uncles, and the siblings. And that's maybe the biggest thing in his mind is you Finnish people, you are so weird. You are so close, but then you are not close at all. It's I think that's been the biggest thing. They are proper Latin family, really loud and warm and loving. And really, we are also loud and warm and loving, but we don't show it as much maybe. I think that aspect. And then the way El Salvadorans speak, they speak it so gently. Their language, the way they communicate to each other is so gentle polite, soft and lovely, really. And sometimes you think, do you know that person? Like, how can you know all these people? Because you talk so friendly way to everybody. No, it's how they all speak. So if we compare that to the Finnish way or even the European way, yes, we are really far away. So for him, I might come across quite rude at times because he thinks you are so Finnish. Stop being so Finnish, you know. But otherwise, there is no really any kind of other ethical or that kind of differences. So it's not really otherwise different.
I had another question about Finnish people, because as I've mentioned, I was born and raised in St. Petersburg, which is very close to Finland. So I was traveling very often. I knew Finnish people. I did some work with Finnish people. And what I was noticing usually that, and I think you also mentioned it, that you guys are a bit like distant at the beginning. You're like not like the Latin people are like, okay, we are all friends. So how to befriend a Finnish person?
That's interesting because I am not the most stereotypical Finnish person. Actually, it's not only me, my whole entire family. And in Finland, we believe this, at least us who has roots from the eastern part of Finland called Karelia. So my mom's family has actually roots from there. And we believe that people from the eastern side of Finland are always the most extroverted, a bit creative and like that. Of course, there's others too. So we kind of make friends probably easier than the other people. But yes, my husband's view, especially him, when he meets my friends and everybody saying, oh my God, so what kind of Finnish people they are? Because they are so calm and quiet. They don't talk much. They only say what they need to say. But then when Finnish people take few drinks, then they change completely, like I think most of the people in the world. So
this is the secret.
Yeah, that is the secret. Finnish people, I think, is you find something common with them, certainly. Maybe it's a hobby or something. I believe you just show authenticity, honesty, those basic, we're talking about values again. Most of the people have these values and they care about it. I think there is a little bit of attitude, okay, will she or he, does he mean to be a friend? Like, is it going to be longer term or is it only for one day or whatever? And I think that's important. But I think that exists elsewhere in the world too. I remember when I was a student, I was in my first job after university in Ireland. And I met a girl from, I don't remember where she was from, but she had lived in Dublin for about 3 years. And we got on, but she's like, so what are you doing here? How long are you going to stay? Okay, I think if you're not going to stay longer than 6 months, then there's no point for us to be friends. And I was thinking, what? This is weird. But what I mean is that's an example of the thing is that you want lasting friendships. So coming back to your question, like everywhere else, I think you need to feel the chemistry and you need to feel that you have something in common and you can trust each other. Then any friendship can be. I don't think it's only Finnish people. I think it's with anyone else. Yeah.
Do you want to ask the last question about the Finnishness?
Oh, yeah, I do. So we have like a final question usually for our conversations. If you were to offer like one character trait to all the people in the world, which you think is very Finnish and you are proud of, what would it be?
One.
You can choose two.
I think I cannot generalize everybody, but I think it is reliability. People are typically very reliable. And other one is also the punctuality. I think Germans are also probably known by that. But in Finland, if someone says, I will meet you on Thursday, 2:00 at that place, that will happen. You don't need to confirm 3 times before Thursday to do that. Whereas I know elsewhere in the world, if we don't confirm until the last minute, you turn up there 2:00 on Thursday, there is no one there. So I would say those kind of things, reliability and kind of the punctuality, but there is so many others. But I think the reliability is the most important.
That's great. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
for having me here. It was great. Thank you.
And a quick reminder, this season is sponsored by FlowerWow, a marketplace where you can find the right gift for your loved ones. Download the app through the link in the description. Use the promo code CULTURE, it's CULTURE, to get a 15% discount on anything you want. This discount works until December 2024. By supporting our sponsors, you support us. Thank you so much. We will hear each other quite soon.